All right.
All right. So this is a very important recording because this is my very first episode of Say Word with Shantavia Nia.
Nice, nice.
My new baby, my new endeavor, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm grateful for my first guest. And without further ado, we're gonna get right into it.
Let's do it. Let's do
Okay.
it.
So my first question I'm asking everybody when I talk about hip hop is, when did you fall in love with hip hop?
Oh man. The first hip hop song I remember as a kid that I heard was Whodini's Big Mouth.
Mhm.
That was the first hip hop song I can honestly say I heard. And then when I was younger, my uncles were watching them break things like that's what really made me fall in love. But then when the Wu-Tang came out, when Wu-Tang Clan came out, it was just a obsession from there, from here on out, you know.
Okay. And also another hip hop question.
Mhm.
Who who are your top five dead or alive?
It's hard to say because I really don't have a top five
Mhm.
because it's so many artists that I love from the past and the present, you know, young and old. But if I can say anyone that influenced, you know, the music that I love, uh, the Jizzle was always my favorite member of the Wu Tang. You know, Liquid Swords is my magnum opus album. You know, that's when I was like, I gotta start rhyming. So if I can say people that was influential, um, the Jizzle, Rakim, Black Dog, Big Daddy Kane, and Pharoah Monch, far as just like the upper echelon of MCing and just having that total package, what I think a MC should be, the presence, the wordplay, and things like that.
Okay. Now we're going to get into talking about
The nitty gritty.
Mad Titan. Yeah, so thank you for that.
Right, right.
What's the story behind the name of your station?
Oh yeah. So Mad Titan Radio. When I was younger, me and my uncle we're 6 years apart. So we collected comic books as kids, but even as adults in our 40s, we still collect comic books. And Thanos was always my favorite character growing up because what I loved about Thanos, it was the whole thing of just the way that when he came around, whether if you were friend or foe, like he just destroyed everything. Like the worst villains connected with the best superheroes. Like this guy is too big. We got to take this guy down. So when I started MCing, like seriously around 17 or 18, I never had a rap name,
Mhm.
you know. And so, but I would jump into battles and jump into open mics, and people was catching on. And so this guy asked me, uh, "Man, when you on stage rhyming, like what's going through your mind?" And I was just like, "Destroy everything. I don't care if you're a friend. You know, you got to go down. I want you to bring a whole team." It's like when Nas said, "In an army that can strike back." Like that's how I
Okay,
felt.
period.
Right, like that's how I felt. And the guy said like Thanos, and of course, like I said, that being my favorite character, I was just like, yeah. So the whole Thanos thing came from that, and of course, when the movies came out, people started really realizing like, okay, now I see why you chose Thanos. In which both Infinity Wars and Endgame came out like either a day or two before my birthday. My birthday is April 28th. So it was all fitting. And so when the radio show started, it was started with a couple of friends of mine, and it was called the 4817 Show, started by brothers Jason and Matt Harrington, aka Mad Trucker and DJ Counteract. And so with them being artists in themselves, you know, people get busy, you know, moving around, you know how things go. And so me and DJ Counteract kept 4817 going. But since he played more of the drum and bass techno type music than I was the hip hop section, and so we was like, hey, let's just kind of do our own entities with our music, you know, so people won't get confused. Like, okay, it's 4817, but I'm hearing, you know, Slick Rick, but also I'm hearing like Stereo Lab. So we just want to kind of keep it separate. And so when I was thinking of a name, a friend of mine that also has a radio show, Professor Mike Jordan, we was kind of throwing names around. And I was like, but it gotta be me. It gotta be, something that represent me. So of course the big light bulb, it has to be, Thanos, and of course Thanos the Mad Titan. And then of course that's where Mad Titan Radio was born. Because when I do a radio show, I want to be one of the best out there, like turn everything to dust, Like there's a lot of great college radio and underground stations out there, that I love myself, but I just want to prove myself, it's one of the best. So people like, yo, like this guy right here. And of course, coming from, Little Rock, Arkansas, when people think of the South, they don't think like, hip hop on that, on that standpoint, in which the show is not only just to showcase like people like Nas or Tupac, the usual artists that we get out, that we love, but also wanted to show, that underground independent level of hip hop too, like artists like, Fly Anakin or Danny Brown, Run the Jewels, Big Ghost Limited, like those artists out there too. Because I feel like on every aspect of hip hop, there's great artists out there, whether they're mainstream or commercial. And I just want to showcase, like if you like this person, give this person a chance. I want to be that Siri or that Google or that Shazam to help you find great music.
Okay. So you kind of answered my next question a little bit, but you can probably unpack a little more. So thank you for breaking down why you chose that name. It makes sense. Like if you want to be the best, like Destroy, like that's what he do in the movies.
Right. Exactly.
So when you launched your station, what was your inspiration behind doing so? Like what drove you to do it? As I mentioned, you answered a little bit, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to unpack more if there is more. If not, I can move on to the next question.
Oh yes, which is funny because a lot of the radio personalities that I loved growing up, of course, like I said, being in Little Rock, Arkansas, they wasn't projected here. So growing up as a kid, teenager, it was always Rap City. If you remember Pump It Up with D Barnes.
Yeah, Rap
And
City. Oh my God.
Prince Dejour to the Big Tigger days. And then of
Yeah.
course Yo on TV Raps, and like I said, Pump It Up. So I was always influenced by Stretch and Bobbito.
Okay.
That Stretch and Bob show, because as an
Oh,
MC,
Armstrong and Bobbito, that they had the station at Columbia University.
Right, Stretch and
Yeah.
Bob, and which I think they put a platform for the biggest artists we know now, like Jay-Z and DMX and Wu-Tang. Like you had to be top notch to be on Stretch and Bob. So them Julio G out there in the West Coast, West Coast legend, and these are the people that, do, like I say, you're on TV Raps and things like that, I was familiar with. And then once I had friends, that moved from those cities here to Little Rock, whether for college or for family or things like that, I learned so much more music, through them. Like I said, hearing Julio G, a friend of mine, Kid Stress, he's from California. When he came here, and he put me on like Dilated Peoples and the Far Right and everything out the West Coast. Like the West Coast Underground to me was kind of like this is amazing, And of course we had legends like King T, the Alcoholics Exhibit and things like that. So then of course you can't say hip hop without saying, Funk Master Flex and Angie Martinez. So those type of people, even when I present my radio show, I still look at how they present and just try to build that influence for putting on a great radio show.
Yeah. Sidebar, I know it's not about me, but I wanted to add on to what you were saying about the Stretch and Bobbito show. I know of them because now that I'm embarking on, this is my new endeavor, but I'm not going to just focus on hip hop, also various cultural things. But them starting that station at Columbia is kind of influencing me. Like I kind of want to go to Columbia for graduate school, so I could be a part of that station. It don't have the same name anymore. They've been out of it for a long time. So this new generation, they changed the name to, I believe, On Beat. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's along those lines. And they play music from 1 a.m. Thursday to 5 a.m. Friday morning. And it's still underground hip hop. So, you know,
Right.
it's
And I
kind of influencing me.
right, right.
I may go to graduate school at Columbia just to be a part of that because it is iconic, you know, being here in New York. That's iconic.
Right. And also, and I can't forget, of course, Sway and Tech in the morning,
Mhm.
catching them as well, and of course, Sway with Heather B, always watching those on like YouTube and stuff like that. And like I said, of course, Sway, man, to me, he's iconic. He's like our coach's Larry King to me. He
Mhm.
does great. He does great interviews, great guests. I mean, from DJing to that, it's a great transition. So most definitely, Sway is a great influence as well. But yes, I think you should do that because even though you said this is your first episode, I'm loving it already. The vibe is personal and it's beautiful. So I'm cheering you on. I'm cheering you
Oh,
on. So
thank you. I
great.
appreciate it. Thank you. Uh, okay, on to the next.
Mhm.
Do you have guests on? If so, who was your favorite and why?
It's been well, of course, with the pandemic, to kind of slow down guests for a while. But I'm hoping to have guests again on the show, and of course, I wanted to showcase some of the Lil Rock artists that we have here that I think are phenomenal. Like one of my favorite guests is this artist named 607. I
Mm.
mean, not only he raps, like no joke, like when it comes to solo albums, he probably has over 60 or 70 solo albums. The man is just like
Wow.
it's like the head and shoulders commercial with Troy Polamalu, like he's never not working, you know. And I mean, from he produces his own beats, he plays the violin, writes his own rhymes, and he also made and scored his own movie called Not Even God that showcased here I want to say 2017, 2018. And I had him on the show a few times, and for him to come up in the era of the 90s and still be have that present force today with the younger generation, and the younger generation, follow his format and look up to him, because it's always that thing with hip hop, had they try to do the East Coast versus West Coast, and now it's the old versus the young generation, which isn't really the case, and I tell people all the time, like, I'm not being that grumpy old man. Well, back in my day, it's more of just respect the architects and just follow the blueprint that they said. Same thing like with your parents, they live longer than we did. They have a blueprint for us to grow and make it through life. And I just think that's how it is with hip hop, because hip hop is so big, but everybody try to make it so diverse.
Hmm.
I understand it's a competitive genre of music, but it's like what Nori said on Drink Champs. You don't see country music divided and riffing like that we know of, or anything like that.
Right.
So it's about embracing that younger generation. I think 607 does that perfectly. He's one of my favorite guests I had on the show, and also another MC named Rod Howard. And not only Rod Howard's an MC, he's a digital creator, so he makes short films, he does animation, he did a few commercials for some of the public access TV shows here. And on top of being the MC, he plays the harmonica.
Oh, that's so dope.
Right, right. He said he's kind of moving away from the rap part and want to do a blues thing now. But when it comes to
Which is
videography
cool
and
when you
photography,
creative, you can do that, you know?
right, because I feel like hip hop goes into any form of music. You see how they want to put it in country. You see hip hop is all over in
In
commercials
commercials,
now.
every time I turn on the TV, I hear a commercial. They have rappers and sampling 90s and early 2000 songs. And I'm like,
Right,
and they
because
said it was going to be a fad when
they
it
say it
first
was gonna be
came
a
out.
fad, but hip hop is that seasoning that just brings
Hmm.
that flavor, So
Yeah.
that's why you do see it on everything. You see it on cartoons. I mean, I'm still a big cartoon head at my age, but to see like De La Soul on Teen Titans Go, of course, rest in peace to True Boy, you know,
Mhm.
that was awesome to me. And of course,
Oh,
remember,
they had their songs on there, or they had them on there as characters.
well, they had them on there as characters. It was the title of that episode was called "Don't Push Play," and of course,
Okay.
that's when De La Soul was going through their issues with their former record label, which now they got everything taken care of. Which De La Soul's catalog is now for streaming. So it kind of played on them. They was battling this monster that's supposed to be in like the record label trying to get their music to the people. which, like I said, they did win that victory, but unfortunately, we lost True Goy,
Yeah.
in that victory. So yeah, but the few guests I had, 607, Raw Howard, Osiris, who's a great MC, and also um, he's one of my favorite freedom fighters here. He really stands for the cause. He leads marches. He does things for the community. I'm sure with the tornado victims, I'm sure he's going to be doing something with that as well. So like I said, there's a lot of great people here. Just like what Andre 3000 said back in the day at the Source Awards, the South have something to say. We're not just one dimensional here. And I just wanted to showcase that there is a variety of artists here, whether if it's from music to painting, photography, that are great. So I'm hoping soon to have more guests on the show. And I would have to say now, my first famous guest that I was able to interview live was Cool Keith.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and if
Which
you're
which
and it,
episode is that for the people, like, because I'm going
ooh,
to write this up and then edit this to put it on YouTube. So what's the name of that episode in case the people want to check it out?
now that was during the 4817 show days, but the way I name my shows, I always name it after a MC's like famous rap lyric or something. So the name of that show with Cool Keith is called MC Ultra Magnetic Magnetic. Of course, if you remember, the Ultra Magnetic MC is the group that he was in. So that's the name of that
Hmm.
show. So if you go to Miss Cloud Mad Titan Radio, just type in MC Ultra Magnetic Magnetic, that will pop up. But yeah, Cool Keith was my first famous, I guess you can say, interview that I did.
Okay, dope.
Hmm.
All right, on to the next. Um, as you know, hip hop is celebrating its 50th anniversary. And how is my Mad Titan Radio tapping into that?
It's gonna be a big celebration. Half a century of, like I said, the greatest thing ever created on planet Earth. So I want to do something big for that day. I want to have guests come through. One of my older shows, one of my good friends, DJ Ivan, he DJ live for me on the episode. So I would like to have him on the show and do like a chronological like DJ set, to celebrate that, because it's a big thing. Cause like you said yourself, they said it was gonna be a fad, that it wasn't gonna last, but it's in everything that we touch and everything that we listen
Pop
to and
culture
see
now.
now.
Mhm.
Right? It's pop culture now, and I mean, for something to be started out of nothing from the Bronx, created by Black and Brown people, is a beautiful thing. And for Cool Herc to give it that push, I mean, this is his baby. To me, this is still his baby. And I would really want our generation still, and even the younger generation, to still, praise this man to give that gave us this creation that we love so much and we put in our everyday lives. Like I said, to something that we see, something that we touch, even to the clothes that we wear. Everything about us, is hip hop. It's almost, if it's not, it is embedded in our DNA. So I still to this day want to give Cool Herc his flowers, because like Black Thought said, MCs ain't show loyalty yet. Cool Herc still ain't got a royalty check, so we still got to give this man the flowers to this day. So I would love to pray that we'll be here for another 50 years, but I know it's probably not possible. But this is the blueprint again that we're leaving for the next generation for 100 years of hip hop. So when we're in the essence, we can just look down and say like our baby is still going.
Mhm. Okay. So speaking of the 50th anniversary of hip hop, are there any cultural events popping off in your city? Is there anything going on? Any happenings?
Not that I know of just yet, but I'm hoping to talk to some people to see if they have any local shows or anything that may be going on. Like I said, I have a few ideas in my head that I want to throw together
You
so to be a part
to,
of it.
pardon me, I'm gonna need you to repeat that because my computer was frozen and you was going in slow-mo. So the
Uh,
last few sentences you said, can you please repeat it? Thank you.
I just said hopefully I can talk to some people around here and put the battery in their back to do something, because this is a global phenomenon. This is a monumental event. So I want Arkansas to be a part of that.
Okay, and wow, we made it to the last question and the message didn't come up that I'm running out of time. So we're making good time. Okay, so this is my thing. I'm going to end each episode with my guest saying a hip hop quotable lyric that emphasizes where you are in life right now in the era of your life. So can you think of a lyric off the top of your head that can, you know,
Oh,
use to your era, this era of your life?
one of the ones I love to say the most come from Dale the Funky Homo Sapien
Mm.
on his Deltron 3030 album, where he says, upgrade your gray matter because one day it may matter. You
Mm.
know, so we continue to evolve, we continue to learn no matter how old we are, and we continue to expand on the things that we love and the things that we hold dear to our hearts. So keep learning, uh, invite new things into your life, new experiences. Because I always tell people, even if you don't like it, at least you got a story to tell. You
Okay.
know, so keep building on your knowledge, um, and just keep growing with the culture, keep growing with life, get in tune with everything that you love or that you're interested in, and don't be afraid to do it.
Thank you for that. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
So once again, thank you for joining me tonight, despite the hurricanes, I mean, the tornadoes that's happening in your area. I
I
hope all
appreciate
is
you.
well with you and your loved ones. And thank you. Once again, I give thanks. So that's it. Let me press stop.
But yes, I thank you as well. And like I said, I want to see thousands more of these episodes. You know, I appreciate you for reaching out for little old me, and any support or anything I can do on my end. Yeah, just I got you. Thanos got you.